Everybody loves pets. Young couple Dave and Sheila were over the moon to adopt a rescue dog from their local shelter, but neither of them was prepared for the peculiar behavior exhibited by their new pet. Every night, the dog would stay wide awake and just stare at them while they slept. Dave and Sheila had been living together for a few years. Both had grown up with dogs, so they decided the next step in their relationship would be to adopt a pup together. The couple was intentional with their adoption and chose to patronize the neighborhood dog pound to purchase their new family member. They wished to help a rescue dog and to give it a safe and happy home rather than get a puppy from a breeder. This distinction was very important to the couple. Dave had grown up with several rescues and knew that caring for these poor creatures was incredibly fulfilling and meaningful. Sheila, however, had only grown up with dogs bred for sale. She wanted to experience living with something that could really use her love and help. With this beautiful motivation to help their community dogs, Dave and Sheila visited the pound to peruse their options. They enjoyed meeting all the dogs at the shelter, but with one particular puppy, it was love at first sight. Unlike the other dogs, this one sat still and merely watched the couple from his bed. When they drew nearer, he remained still, except for the thumping of his wagging tail periodically hitting the ground. The pound informed the couple that this dog had been with them only a few months and that he was very calm and obedient. The staff at the pound did not know what the dog's previous owners had called him, so they gave him the nickname Thumper after the sound his tail made. Sheila knew then and there that Thumper was the dog for them. He was older than a puppy, but not by too much, so they anticipated having him for many years. Dave was easily sold on the idea, and in no time, the couple was taking home their new pet, Thumper. They ran around that day, getting a dog bed, toys, treats, and food for Thumper. Given both Dave and Sheila's experience with dogs, they knew they had to set up a nice space for his bed that would be designated just for him. They began to establish boundaries, such as not going in the bedroom or in the kitchen when someone is cooking. Thumper seemed to understand very well, and both Dave and Sheila were impressed by whatever previous training he must have experienced. But all that would change when the couple tried to go to bed for the night. Dave spent some time with Thumper, giving him some extra treats and cuddles until his eyes got droopy. As the dog got more tired, Dave laid him in his dog bed and quietly left him to rest. Dave went to join Sheila in their bedroom to get some sleep himself. Just as he was laying down and turning off the light, Dave caught the glimmer of two eyes staring at him from the hallway. How odd! Thumper must have been woken up and been confused, Dave assumed. He went to the dog to check that everything was okay. Thumper seemed perfectly fine, so Dave led him back to the living room where Thumper's bed was and told him to go to sleep. When Dave tried to walk away, Thumper began to follow. Over and over again, Dave told the pooch to stay, and over again, the dog disobeyed as soon as Dave turned his back. Sheila was growing impatient and decided to see what the fuss was about. In the living room, she saw her dog behaving very differently than how he had during the day. Sheila tried to help Dave by settling Thumper down on his dog bed and also telling him to sleep. Working together, the couple managed to soothe the dog, and a few minutes later, they were back in their bedroom, ready to hit the hay. Then it was lights out, and everyone tried to sleep. A few hours later, Sheila had still not fallen asleep. She was tired and frustrated. She wanted to sleep, but kept feeling as though she was being watched and jerking awake. Finally, she got up to use the washroom and ran right into Thumper, sitting at the threshold of the bedroom, staring. Again, she tried to get the dog to sleep in its own bed, but nothing worked. So Sheila gave in for the night and let the dog sit in the doorway, watching her and Dave sleep. They would deal with this issue in the light of day. However, when morning came, Thumper reverted back to his daytime personality and was nothing but agreeable and sweet the whole day long. Dave wondered if perhaps the previous owners had not set very strict boundaries with Thumper. If they had permitted Thumper to sleep in the bedroom, maybe this caused his unnerving staring the night before. So, night after night, both Dave and Sheila attempted to establish clear guidelines in their house. Thumper was to sleep in his doggy bed in the living room. The couple did some research to understand why Thumper was disobedient in this one particular area. The only information they could glean from the internet is that most dog trainers recommended having pets sleep in separate rooms as their owners. If they were doing the right thing, then why was Thumper so resistant? After weeks of restless nights trying to sleep under Thumper's watch, the couple were running out of ideas on how to break this unsettling habit. They tried to give the dog tons of exercise to tucker him out, but still he would not sleep. They tried to let him sleep during the day, but he would only take short naps before jumping awake again. Dave even went so far as to install a camera aimed at their bedroom door to see if Thumper would sleep after seeing his owners fall asleep. But the camera footage only confirmed that the dog was incredibly stubborn and forced himself to stay awake. That must take a toll on the poor animal's health. Why wouldn't Thumper sleep? At his wit's end, Dave brought his rescue to the vet to have him examined. The veterinarian was very thorough, but could find nothing wrong with Thumper. Dave described the nighttime staring behavior, and the vet said they had never heard of a dog doing that every single night. Dave was about to take Thumper back home and admit defeat when his car drove right past the very pound where they had gotten Thumper. Dave brought the dog inside to ask the staff if they could explain the bizarre behavior. What he learned that day was both shocking and disheartening. The shelter staff had a lot of love for Thumper and were excited to see their old friend. Thumper, however, appeared distraught at his return to the pound. The staff took the meeting with Dave outside, so the dog would experience less distress, and then they explained under what sad circumstances they had received Thumper months previously. Thumper's old owners were another sweet young couple. They trained Thumper well and loved him very much. But a difficult pregnancy made the couple feel nervous and unsure if they could continue to provide Thumper with the adequate care. So they decided to give him up. However, the couple was not prepared for the heartbreak they would experience bringing Thumper to the pound. They chose to take the easy way and waited until the dog fell asleep. They then carefully transported him to the shelter and left without saying goodbye. As Dave heard about Thumper's history, his heart melted for the dog. The poor creature had fallen asleep in his home with the people he loved and awoke in a cage at the shelter. No wonder the dog didn't wish to sleep. He was scared that he would lose his new owners if he fell asleep. Moreover, the poor creature was frightened to be back at the pound. Dave realized Thumper thought he was being given up again and responded quickly to rectify the situation. But how could he prove to Thumper that he was at his forever home? Dave and Thumper arrived home to find Sheila had made a lovely dinner. They sat and ate and then fed Thumper as Dave filled Sheila in on the pooch's previous life. She cried when she heard about how afraid he was of abandonment and gave the dog extra love that night. It was Sheila who came to the creative solution that would finally help the dog relax. She even broke a cardinal rule of dog training to do so. That night, Sheila brought Thumper's doggy bed into their bedroom and let the dog rest beside them. Over the next few weeks, Thumper completely transformed. He trusted Dave and Sheila more and more and would sleep for longer periods of time throughout the night. Dave feared that allowing Thumper to sleep in the room with them might make him disobedient, but that wasn't the case. Thanks to the compassion of his new owners, Thumper remained a very well-behaved dog that now also felt safe and secure in his forever home. Dave and Sheila hope soon he will learn to sleep through the whole night, and he is getting closer to that goal by the day. Have you ever had any trouble training a pet? Would you let your dog sleep in the bedroom with you? Tell us in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.